Have you seen on social media, Zeynep Hokum, there are images of soldiers marching on social media that there may be a possible military coup against Netanyahu after
Yes.
Gallant's dismissal. But now I have spoken to my editor and I need to confirm such a thing. But there are a lot of similar things on social media. For example, on the one hand, there are reports that Kanal Onunki passed through. It is called videos like this, mothers, families, sisters of Israeli prisoners marching towards Netanyahu's house.
There is a response, but we will
But we won't
understand
get it in the
morning.
morning. But it needs confirmation. Yes, of course it needs confirmation. If there is, there may already be bloody sharing, of course. But in the Middle East now, this
Anything
mixture.
can happen at any time
Yes,
in the Middle
anything
East.
can happen at any moment. You know what they say about politics?
4 hours, for a little while, yeah.
For this place, I guess.
A long time, I'm sorry.
What would you say about a long time here? It's pretty much the
Yes, it
same
is.
thing. The firing of Gallant, his replacement, now that Rodenbar is one of the new targets. And the fact that it coincides with the election of the President of the United States on a day when we are talking about it. How do you interpret all of this when you put it all together, Professor?
I guess we should say this. We are entering a new era here, because I've always, since these attacks started, I have always said to different parts of Palestine, right now Netanyahu there's a get out of jail free card. This happens sometimes in card games, you know, the one that keeps you out of jail, things. Because there is an election in America, and because there will be an election in America, what President Biden, what was then the candidate at first, then Kamala Harris, and the candidate they are up against is Donald Trump. They will not be able to do anything against Israel, because both in numbers. There are many more pro-Israel people in America, and also lobbies close to Israel, especially the Jewish lobby. He is very powerful, he opens good money, and he is very familiar with the Western media, et cetera, et cetera. That's why, and not confronting him directly is the right thing to do. Would have moved in terms of their strategies, but now the election is over, and people are now waiting for a result. And especially although, in a significant part of Western societies, especially American society, if Palestinians were not so dehumanized, and Israelis are also dying and being killed here, we should not forget that. Or rather, thanks to social media and what we call citizen journalists in virtual environments, we believe that the massacres in Palestine, and we see that it's also found a place. So over time, of course, America is far behind, but at least even in Western Europe, societies have come almost very, very close to 50-50 on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. Even some, Spain in particular, Ireland in particular, Italy maybe a little bit, Portugal a little bit, some European countries. We have also seen that they have actually taken a stance in favor of Palestine. Of course, this is something that will take a very long time for America. On the one hand, it's not something that will happen today and tomorrow. Of course, and with all this, I want to say, I have to say, this Israeli-Palestinian issue will drag on. There is no solution here either. Just as in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Crimea, because there is no definitive solution, unresolved, it can never be solved. In Crimea's, I don't know, it's more my teacher's field, but in my mind, there is no mutually acceptable solution to the Crimean issue. For example, if you give Donetsk, Luhansk too much autonomy at work, you know, a Russian flag next to a Ukrainian flag or a Ukrainian flag next to a Russian flag or something like that, there will be a solution sometime. But in Crimea, Russia has taken that harbor, but will not want to leave it. They will not want to leave their nature in Ukraine because natural harbors are very precious in the Black Sea, and the biggest and the most beautiful is there. Someone said it on TV and I laughed a lot, but I laughed because it flattered my soul. I mean, it's really not possible to solve it in any other way. Last time someone said that Crimea should be given to Turkey. After all, it is a former Turkish land. Neither of them will be gone. So he said, if it can't be win-win, at least let's make it needless and let us win. Not that it will ever really happen, but it is really something that is so unsolvable. Even giving Crimea to Turkey seems like the most logical solution to me over time. As for Moldova, in fact, my professor told me that if it enters NATO, there is a possible Moldova-Romania unification.
Meanwhile, in the images in the middle, Gallant is protesting against Netanyahu for dismissing his teacher.